Are you ready to sound like a native English speaker? No, I mean really sound like a native English speaker? Well, if you said yes, that means you need to learn advanced English expressions and advanced English idioms. And I am going to teach you them today. I'm Teacher Tiffany. Let's jump right in. All right. Idioms and expressions. Now, here's a very popular quote from John Powell. Communication works for those who work at it. Now, I like this quote because basically it's saying if you put in the work, if you put in the time to learn these expressions and idioms, you will see results. Now, another quote that I really like is right here. Communication is your ticket to success if you pay attention and learn to do it effectively. I'm going to teach you how to do just that. So let's get started with the first idiom. Number 1, to be in the limelight. Now, this means to receive attention and interest from the public, or to be at the center of public attention. Now, let me help you understand this idiom even more. So think about a light. Right now I have a light directly in front of me. Why? Because I'm recording a video lesson for you, but you need to see me good, right? You need to see me very clearly. So I have to use a light. So the light is making you focus on me. So to be in the limelight refers to being the center of attention. All right. Now, I'm going to give you some examples and instances so that you know how to use this idiom properly. All right. So here we go. First, we have this one right here. He's been in the limelight recently following the release of his new movie. So think about Will Smith. Will Smith is a very popular actor, not just in America, but around the world. So when he produces or stars in a new movie, he usually is in the limelight. Everyone's looking at him. Wow, what's Will Smith doing? He's in the limelight. All right. Now, the next example, here we go. Sally loves being in the limelight. Or basically, Sally loves having other people focus on her. All right. Makes sense, right? And the third example we have is right here. The reporters made sure the attractive new actress was in the limelight. Basically, the reporters wanted everyone to focus on the new actress. Okay. So again, this idiom, number 1, is to be in the limelight. You got it. All right. Let's move on to idiom number 2. Again, very useful idioms. Take a trip down memory lane. Now, this idiom means to deliberately recall pleasant or sentimental memories. So here's the best way for you to remember this idiom. You know, at the end of each video, what I usually do? What's that called again? Story time. I usually tell you a lot about my past, something that happened that either made me happy or sad, but taking a trip down memory lane usually refers to a pleasant memory from the past. Okay? All right. So let's look at some examples that can see or show us how to use this idiom properly. We were just taking a stroll down memory lane and recalling the days of our youth. Oh, real quick. Stroll. So taking a stroll just means to take a nice walk, a very pleasant walk. We say stroll in English. All right. So again, this individual says, we were just taking a stroll down memory lane, recalling the days of our youth, remembering when he or she was in high school or in grade school and the many things they did when they were in school. All right. So here's another example. Let's see. Let's go there and take a trip down memory lane. Now, I want to tell you, this is such a useful idiom. You can start using it right now, and you will sound like a native English speaker because we use this idiom so often. All right. Now, the last example sentence we have is right here. Before we take a trip down memory lane, let's look at the facts. Now, this is very interesting because, again, remember, a trip down memory lane is recalling what happened and thinking of pleasant memories. But this person is saying, hey, wait a second. Let's look at the facts and then let's go down memory lane. Okay, makes sense? All right, good. So again, idiom number 2 is take a trip down memory lane. Now, idiom number 3, again, another very useful idiom. Crank out something. Now, this means to produce something continually like a machine, or to make something in a casual and mechanical way. Now, let me give you a good example of what to crank out something means or how it can be used. Okay, so you all follow me on Instagram. I think most of you follow me on Instagram. I'm going to open it up on my phone. Now, for Instagram, I produce 2 videos every single day. I produce a vocabulary lesson and also a lesson on slang. So in order to do that, I have to usually record a lot of videos. Now I'm going to show you what my timeline looks like. Hopefully you can see it. All right, there we go. Let's see. And now it's there. So you see, there are so many videos on my Instagram account. Now I have to record a lot of videos continually. So I have to crank out a lot of Instagram video lessons. Kind of makes sense? I know you got it. Now let's see some example sentences using this idiom. Here we go. First, Stanley can crank out a lot of essays in a single day. Okay, Stanley, I see you. Stanley is legit. Legit means awesome or amazing. Another slang term. All right. Next, we have this one right here. The new robot they created can crank out over 100 mechanical parts in 1 hour. Now you're seeing how you can use this idiom in real life. Think about robots. Robots are created because they can move faster than humans and do certain processes faster than a human being. They can crank out things faster than humans. Makes sense, right? All right, now let's see the last one. Here we go. The last one is right here. The director cranks out 1 movie a year. So, like a machine, the director keeps producing. Kind of makes sense? All right, now let's move on. Okay, so we have our 3 idioms, but what about expressions? So our first English expression is know or learn the ropes. Now, this means to understand how to do a particular job or activity, or to learn how to do something. So again, right now you are learning English, right? You're kind of learning how to use these expressions properly. But let me give you another example that may be helpful. Think about when you first learned to drive a car, right? You don't know what to do. You don't know how to turn the wheel. You don't know how to turn the car on. So you have to learn how to actually drive a car. You need to learn the ropes. All right. Again, a very, very useful English expression. So let's see some example sentences using this expression. Here we go. First, anyone who's been doing the job for a few months should know the ropes by now. It's like, hey, come on. You've been at this job for a few months now. You should know what you're doing, or you should know the ropes. Make sense? All right, now let's go to number 2. Here we go. Once I learn the ropes at my new job, I won't be so nervous. It's true. When you learn how to do something and you understand it, you suddenly kind of relax. You're like, I got this. It's okay. I got it. Right? Okay. And now our last example sentence is right here. We need someone to teach the new staff. Someone who knows the ropes and is good at explaining things. Someone who understands and is able to explain things well. Make sense? All right. So expression number 1 is to know or learn the ropes. Now, let's move on to number 2. Here we go. All right. The second one is line of work. Now, this literally just means job or occupation, or the principal activity in your life that you do to earn money. So again, very useful expression. We as Americans, native English speakers, use it on a regular basis. It literally just means your job or occupation. Occupation. All right. So this is what happens. Let's say, for example, someone walks up to me and says, Tiffani, can I ask you what your line of work is? I can say, oh yes, I'm an English teacher and I love my students. I really do. So my line of work is I'm an English teacher. All right. So again, your job or occupation. So let's go back and check out some example sentences. Here we go. First, we have, I believe that the majority of you chose your line of work because you want to help. So basically, you chose your job because you want to help people. Again, we replaced job with line of work. All right. Now, number 2, the second example sentence is, in my line of work, being surrounded by gadgets is an occupational requirement. So, in jobs like mine, we usually are surrounded by gadgets. Again, the exact same meaning. Now, the last example sentence is right here. This line of work requires lots of effort. So, this type of job requires a lot of effort. Make sense? All right. So again, expression number 2, line of work, just meaning your job or occupation. Now, expression number 3, another good one. On the back burner. All right. On the back burner. Now, real quick, let me explain what a back burner is. So in America, well, I'm sure in your country too, we have a stove, right? And on the stove, there are usually 4, unless you have a really big stove. On top, there are 4, we say burners, right? Where you put the pot on top of, you turn it on. Either you have a gas stove or you can have an electric one, and sometimes induction as well. But you put the pot on top or the pan and it heats it up. Well, we used to call those burners. We still do. The burner. So there are usually 4 burners. Now, when you're cooking something, the most important thing is usually in front, on the front burner, because you need to cook it and cook it in a way you're comfortable, right? You're not having to reach over things. But when you finished something or it's not the main dish, you can put it to the back, on the back burner. Make sense? Now, we don't have an expression that says front burner. I know someone's going to ask me, but we don't have that one. We have on the back burner. So let me explain what this actually means. Here we go. Having low priority or something that is temporarily not being dealt with or considered. Like I mentioned, I'm cooking, but I've finished kind of the side dish. So I'm putting it to the back and now I'm cooking the main dish on the front. Okay. All right. So let's see some example sentences. Here we go. First, we've all had to put our plans on the back burner for a while. Think about it. Right now, we are all experiencing a kind of a serious situation across the world, right? So people are staying at home to work, or some people, unfortunately, have lost their jobs. So things that were a priority in the past have now been moved aside to try to figure out how to adjust to the new situation. So we can say, I put my vacation on the back burner, or I put that paper I was writing on the back burner. Kind of make sense? Good. All right. Now, number 2, let's move on. Number 2, the building project is on the back burner for now. Okay. We're going to do it later. And finally, this matter was on the back burner for a long time. Again, this matter, at one time, it was very important, but now we've kind of put it to the side and it's not as important right now. Kind of makes sense? All right. Now listen, if you want to see part 2 of this lesson, all you have to do is click the link in the description and you'll also get the free ebook. Remember, students in my academy, all of my academy members can see part 2 of my YouTube English lessons. And I know you're going to enjoy it, but I really hope you enjoyed this lesson as well. Remember, I want you to sound like a native English speaker. And I taught you literally 3 English idioms that we use on a regular basis and 3 English expressions that we also use on a regular basis. So I really hope you enjoyed today's lesson. Remember to review, and remember, if you want to watch part 2, hit the link in the description. Well, I will see you next week, but as always, remember to speak English. You know what time it is. It's story time. Hey, I said it's story time. All right, now I have kind of a funny story for you guys today. All right, so when I was in South Korea, remember I taught in South Korea for about 10 years. Now, I speak Korean now, but when I first went to South Korea, I did not speak Korean. But I loved teaching. So anyways, I was assigned a class, and one of my classes was a room full of, I think there were about 20 of them. 20, and I think they were about 6 years old. They were between 6, they weren't 7. They were between 5 and 6 years old. So they were little people. Now, I love children. I truly love children. But when you have 5 and 6-year-olds and English is not their first language, there's a bit of a barrier to kind of overcome sometimes. Children are very active, right? They're very active and they like to have fun. And again, I love children and I love having fun. So one day we're in class, and again, they weren't bad kids, but they were kids. And they were talking a lot and they were laughing and they weren't paying attention to the lesson I was teaching them. I was their English teacher. So I asked them, okay, guys, I need you to be quiet. Now, remember, English is not their first language. And now that I speak Korean, I realize how important it is at certain times to use the mother tongue if you want to immediately get someone's attention. So fast forward. Now, when I did learn Korean, I had no problem with little people because I would speak in Korean really quickly to get their attention. So anyways, back to the story. So I was getting a little bit frustrated because I was a little tired that day. There were 20 little munchkins. Munchkins is another word for little people that I use. It's kind of a cute term. I actually call my nieces munchkins. So I had 20 munchkins running around the room and I was getting frustrated. And I said, I need you guys to sit down and be quiet. The boys looked at me. The girls looked at me. I mean, they were adorable, cute. So, okay, my tolerance level was going like this. I said, okay, you guys are about to make me upset. So they're just yapping, just talking. So at the top of my lungs, I said, shut your mouth. And everybody froze. Everybody in the class froze. Now remember, these are 5 and 6-year-old Korean kids, and I loved them. They were just being bad that day. And I said, shut your mouth. So they all got quiet, including me. And one little girl leaned over to her friend in perfect English and said, the teacher just told us to shut up. I said, I did not tell you to shut up. I said, shut your mouth. And I was trying not to laugh because I was like, these little kids, because I would never tell a child to shut up because shut up is rude. And as a teacher, you shouldn't say that to your kids. Again, every teacher is different, but I never told my kids to shut up because it's rude. So I said, shut your mouth. But again, they were little kids. English was not their first language. And all they heard was shut. And then they saw my facial expression and I was loud. So they said, ooh, she told us to shut up. And all I could imagine was these little kids telling their parents, my English teacher told me to shut up in class. So I was like, I did not tell you to shut up. I said, shut your mouth. So again, I was trying not to laugh, but they looked at me and they said, okay, teacher. Needless to say, the rest of the class, they were angels. They were quiet, they listened to the lesson, and they were fine. But I always remember that story because it reminds me of the importance of understanding a language, because they knew one expression. They knew shut up, but they had never heard shut your mouth. So they immediately assumed I had said shut up. So anyways, I loved the kids. They loved me. We had a great time. The rest of the semester, there was no problem at all. But yeah, sometimes, you can get to a breaking point and you express yourself, but this is why it's important to know many different English expressions. All right. I really hope you guys enjoyed this story. Remember, tell me something that happened to you that was funny in your past. You can put it in the comment section. All right, guys, I'll see you in next week's video.